Hey y'all, we are going to have so much fun today because we are making lunch lady brownies. And I'm telling you the truth, surely y'all can remember how delicious these brownies were when we were growing up, and just hats off to all the ladies who have fed children all these years. You know, Miss Francis worked in the schools in Lawrenceburg. So every time we go there together, we just go in a restaurant or anywhere, and so many people know her and love her because she fed them whenever they were growing up. So anyway, hats off to all of y'all, and thank you for your service to our kids all these years. So first we're going to mix together our butter and our sugar. Now the butter should have been softened. I put it in the microwave thinking I could soften it, and it melted. So anyway, but you need a cup of softened butter and 2 cups of sugar. So we're going to mix that together really well. I hope y'all are doing great. It's raining really hard here. It looks like it's dark outside. It's actually not dark. It's early afternoon, but it's storming. But I kind of like the rain, actually. I think it's a lot of fun to watch. So you just stir that together until it gets to be a pretty color. And here it is. Then we're going to add in our eggs, one at a time. So it takes 4 eggs. So far we've got a cup of softened butter, 2 cups of sugar, and we're adding our 4 eggs. I tell you, I have such fond memories of smelling those cafeteria rolls. Do y'all remember those? Oh my goodness. I actually have a recipe from my sweet friend Janine's mom. She's the one who gave me this recipe, and maybe sometime we'll tackle them. That'd be a lot of fun, wouldn't it? So I like to, whenever I have to add more than 1 egg, or even just 1 egg, if I have 1 egg, I'll just put it in a little bowl. But I have more than 1 egg, and you need to incorporate them well before you add the next one. I just put them in a measuring cup and that has a spout, and add them that way. And to me, it makes it just a little bit easier. So we're going to add our 4 eggs. And then we are going to add our flour and our cocoa. Now, just like it was 2 cups of sugar, it's 2 cups of flour. And we're using self-rising flour. Actually, the recipe that she had didn't distinguish if it were self-rising or not, but it didn't call for any salt or baking powder or baking soda. So we think we're right on this. So let me grab a spoon. And this is 2 cups of flour. And let's see, I just want to make sure I get this right. A 1/2 cup of cocoa. Now, I love to get cocoa that's a little bit different sometimes, but basically I use Hershey's cocoa. And we're just going to mix the flour and the cocoa together. You can add them separately. It doesn't really say to mix them together, but I just thought that might be a good idea to get it incorporated really well. This recipe has some interesting things in it, I'll have to say. It has 4 teaspoons of vanilla. That's a lot. So, anyway, but do you remember how flavorful those brownies were? You could actually smell them. Woo! Hear that thunder? It is thundering, y'all. But we're inside and safe. So are Charlotte and Nico. He was going to come over and help me, and it started raining really bad, so they stayed home. Okay, we're going to bring these, though, to the farm after a while if it stops raining, because we think they will love them. Okay, so now I'm going to add flour and cocoa to our mixture. So we have in here already, I could have used a mixer for this, but honestly it makes a lot of noise. I have one that's actually not too noisy, but it's still hard to talk over. So I'm going to incorporate it slowly. So I had this great Danish whisk, and it mixes things together really well. I tell y'all, I absolutely love it. And a lot of y'all have commented that you really like it too. So we're going to stir this, kind of whip it. Oh gosh, I just love smelling chocolates. I never have been like a real chocoholic like some people are, but I love smelling it, and especially if there's something cooking, because I just think the aroma is so wonderful. So here we go with our mixture, making sure that it gets incorporated, and it takes a minute. Now, if we had our mixer going, our electric blender, then it would not take this long. But I'm making sure that I get all the dry ingredients incorporated, and we have a little bit more here. So it just takes a minute. So I want to tell you, all of y'all who are following me, please share this recipe. I think people would absolutely love having this recipe. But thank you for following me and liking my page and commenting and sharing, subscribing on YouTube. I appreciate it so much. And we're just having so much fun, aren't we? I love these. I love all recipes, but I always look backwards instead of forwards for recipes, because I think these recipes that have just stood the test of time, you just cannot beat them. And that way you're sure you're going to get a wonderful dish. So I really appreciated Janine giving me this recipe. I have several of her mother's recipes in my book. I have a sweet little saying I'm going to read to you at the end of the video that she said about her mama. So here's all the rest of our flour and cocoa. And then we're going to add 1 cup of chopped nuts and 4 teaspoons of vanilla. Now remember, I told you this is a lot of vanilla, but we're going to add it. And this is a very nice and thick batter. They had to cut well. That makes sense. Whenever they were feeding people in the cafeterias, because they didn't have time for it to break apart and all that. It needed to cut very well and straight. So adding our nuts was not that hard, and now we're going to add our vanilla. Alrighty, here we go. We're going to stir it in. I think that this recipe, you make it in a 9x12. You bake it at 350 for, 20 to 25 minutes. Check it at 20 minutes. And then, but you can bake it in different size pans. Janine actually baked hers in a smaller pan. And she just kept on checking it until the toothpick came out clean. So in case y'all don't know that trick, you probably know it, but in case you don't, you put a toothpick in the middle of your cake or whatever, and it doesn't hurt it because it's so tiny. Put it down and pick it up, and if the toothpick is clean, then your cake is ready. If it's not, then it kind of shows you how raw it still is. Like you might need maybe 3 more minutes or something, but it's a great tip for that, to help with that. Now I did put a little bit of parchment paper down, because I thought whenever I bring this to the firemen, it'd be easier on them to cut it. I know y'all are like I am, so appreciate the firemen. And because of all this bad weather, we've had a lot of rain and storms, and our electricity has been out a couple of times. And the last time it was out, the breaker blew. And so we had so many linemen down at the end of our street replacing it, and it just made me think even more how much they're first responders too, and how appreciative I am of everyone who has a job that helps people whenever there's a need, and they're not afraid of danger. Okay, so here's our batter in our pan. It's a very thick batter. It's going to be super yummy. And then we're going to, a little bit more batter. I could have gotten a better spatula, actually. You know what, I am, because there's a little bit of batter left. So I'm going to get, goodness, I am a messy cook, y'all. Okay. I'm going to get a spatula and get all of it out, because I don't want to leave any in the bowl. So just take your time and work around and get every little bit of batter out. Put it in your baking pan. Here we go. That's at least another half a brownie. Right, we don't want a half a brownie sitting in the bowl. Okay. My goodness, you see how thick this batter is? It is thick and it is gonna be delicious, y'all. Just so yummy. Okay, here we go. So now what we'll do is we will smooth it out. And just smooth it out as evenly as you can in your pan. So I'm gonna smooth it out. Show you what it looks like. So I really did need a spatula. I'm glad I got it because you need something kind of like a flat surface to smooth it out in the pan. So I'm smoothing it out and making it as even as you can because you want it to cook evenly. And so sometimes it takes a minute because you have to be patient. So I never have considered myself a baker. I consider myself a home cook, but I have had a lot of fun trying different things to bake, and they tasted pretty good. So I hope y'all enjoyed them too. Okay, so here is this yumminess right here. Lunch Lady Brownies. Now that is a plan right there. I'm going to put them in the oven. It's at 350. It's all heated up for 20 to 25 minutes, and we'll be back and I'll show you, and we'll make the frosting. It's yummy too. Okay, y'all, we're going to go ahead and make the frosting for the brownies. They're still baking. They have about 6 more minutes, and but I thought it would be fine if the frosting rested a minute. So it calls for 1/4 of a cup of softened butter. Whoa! So that is 1/2 of a stick. And then it calls for 1/4 of a cup of milk. You can use evaporated milk because the recipe actually says canned milk. So I'm assuming that's what they used. And then we're going to, oh, Chihuahua sneezing. Oh my goodness. Then we're, no love? Little Chihuahuas are such babies. So we're going to mix this together, and I felt like I needed to use a deeper bowl. I'm sorry you can't see it as well, but I'll show it to you because of the amount of powdered sugar we're going to put in. So we're going to mix this together. So this is the butter and the milk. Mix it together until it's very well incorporated. Just takes a minute. I tell y'all, you know how delicious the cake batter sounded? So does the frosting. It just sounds so delicious. So as soon as this gets incorporated, then I'm going to add cocoa powder, 1/4 of a cup. Mix that until it's very well incorporated. It smells good, y'all. It smells good, good. You can really see it coming together now. I'm trying not to touch the bowl. I actually have a big stand mixer. I need to get it out and use it because I think it actually is a little bit easier. Okay, so here goes our powdered sugar. Guess how much? 3 cups. So you need to add it slowly or you're going to be wearing it because it gets kind of where it wants to just go all around on you. So there's about 1 cup. Here we go again. So you can see it just mixes together. And it does get pretty thick because it's a frosting. So it needs to be thick enough to hold on to the cake and stand up to the cake, if that makes sense. Not melt. If you are making some type of ganache, which is a softer kind of topping, then you wouldn't need this much stiffness in it, but for frostings, you need it. Okay, that came together really well. Now the rest of our powdered sugar, and just a pinch of salt. So you know what? I thought this was so funny whenever we read this because, you know, a pinch of salt in desserts is real popular now. Well, guess who thought of it first? The lunch ladies. So anyway, the sweet people who cook for us and for our children. I just love that. All right, y'all, so here is the frosting. Okay, okay, y'all know that little trick? If you put your mixer on high and just keep it down, of course, then all of the frosting that's on the beaters will go back into your pan. So here's the frosting. Yummy looking, isn't it? Oh, it's just soft enough, y'all. Just so wonderful. Okay, so there's our frosting. It's enough for the top of the brownies, that's all you frost. Of course, you don't frost the sides. And as soon as the brownies come out and cool a little bit, we'll frost it. We'll be back. Okay, y'all, so our brownies are out of the oven and I have started frosting them. So here is how beautiful they are. I just have a little bit more to frost. I was going to take them out of this pan and then put them back in, but I think I'm going to not because it's going to storm again, and I'm trying to get this to a fireman before this next storm hits. So anyway, I think they're just going to love them. And these are great. This is time of year to have a recipe like this, y'all, because it's just so easy and so yummy. People might not have had these before, and they're just going to love you to death for making them for them. So I am going to take a little bitty piece right here. They'll never know it. And taste them. Y'all, they are so delicious. It's kind of like the essence of chocolate. It is so delicious. So y'all make these. Talking about lunch ladies, I wanted to read something to you that's in my cookbook that I wrote about Janine's mom, who I got the recipe from. So there's several paragraphs, but this is the one I wanted you to hear. She always kept money in her apron pocket in case one of the kids needed money. Mimi always had on her lipstick and jewelry, which she did. So I just think that's so sweet that she went to work every day to cook for these children. And she would actually, she cooked at the school just like she would cook at home. All the teachers said that she was making them fat because they loved her cooking so much. And it is good too. I don't know if y'all have my book, but I've got several of her recipes in my book. And Janine has a recipe for the roll, so we're going to try that. So anyway, these are super yummy, super chocolatey, kind of like the essence of a Hershey's milk chocolate bar. You know those, everybody loves those. It's kind of what it tastes like, especially the frosting. So here's to the lunch ladies. Thank you all so much for all of your service to our children. Blessings, blessings for you, and bon appetit, y'all.